Las noches del Beagle son blancas. Darwin no soñó con nada. No dejó registro en ningún sueño en sus diarios de viaje, tampoco en su autobiografía, ni un solo sueño. La palabra solo la escribe como una expresión de imposibilidad cumplida. Oh, nunca lo hubiera imaginado o soñado. E incluso para esa acepción empieza a preferir daydreaming, como si los sueños de la noche no fueran ni siquiera decibles. Oh, ni en mis más locas ensoñaciones me lo hubiera imaginado. Darwin veía muchas cosas que otros no veían en el mundo. Formaciones geológicas, esqueletos simétricos, picos en gradientes de diversos tamaños. Eso era porque no cerraba nunca los ojos. Los tenía secos de tan abiertos. Le entraba el viento del mar y después el de la llanura y el de las mesetas y el del frío. Todo seco. La lava, el desierto, el hielo hecho de agua pero igual duro. Ningún líquido. Solo el agua abajo del barco, pero salada, pero intomable. Debe ser difícil soñar cosas estrambóticas si uno está poniendo en práctica el siglo XIX. Como mucho, se puede soñar que el mar no tiene espuma y que es plano como un techo, o que los 100 pies ahora son reversibles. Para Darwin, los sueños deben haber sido exactamente así, copias muy ligeramente distorsionadas del mundo. A Darwin no le gustaba habitar mundos alternativos, pienso. Ya suficiente tenía con el planeta Tierra. My name is Yamila BEGNE. I am from Argentina. I live in Buenos Aires. And basically I write and I read. I'm also a PhD candidate, so I read and write also because of that. And I teach creative writing workshops. The best thing about being a writer in Argentina, I think, is that we have a lot of people writing and a lot of people reading and a lot of independent publishing houses. So that gives us like a sense of a possibility to write whatever we want and not being tied to, I don't know, market strategies or things like that, because these independent publishing houses, they are always looking for really what they want to publish rather than what they need to publish. So that is a nice thing about living there. I would say in the wine maybe, but you also have like a very good wines here. I think it has to be something about literature too. I know you have it here because I can sense that there is a similar atmosphere, but living in Argentina, we read each other a lot and we create kind of a system, and I say system as structuralism would say system, because we read each other, we read our classics, and we try to work with that. We try to come out with different ways to keep on saying or telling the same stories, or we try to come up with ways to keep on working with the same themes or subjects such as, I don't know, limits or frontier or space. So that sense of literary community, I think I miss the most. But I can tell there is something here, but I don't belong, so. I find writing to be a pleasure. I don't suffer when I write. If I would suffer, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I suffer from a lot of other things, so writing, I don't want to be suffering when I write. I find, like, for me, the most pleasurable time is the previous part, when you have to maybe find an idea or, like, bump into an idea and start making research and start to read and start to prove some language around that idea. That I find that is like an enormous pleasure for me. Maybe the most difficult time is the editing process, but it's also a pleasure. But it feels like it is more close to my academic work. When I start like editing myself and correcting myself and rereading, I feel like I am more of a reader than of a writer, and that it's also something that I like very much. And I don't know, I think there is some connection between my work as when I am studying for my PhD and my fiction writing, because I find that I tend to write fiction from ideas or even concepts. So it's not that far away. Actually, I'm studying 19th century Argentinian literature and its relationship with science, with astronomy, with astrology even, with atmosphere in a way, meteorology. So that is also something that is in the novel that I'm writing now, so it kind of melts together. I don't, actually. I think I can speak for me. I think that depends on the type of writer and the kind of work that each is doing, because I know there are writers who are like very committed to a cause or something, and that is great. That is not my case. I think that I have a duty, and my duty is to work with words, with language. And it's a private kind of duty, I think, intimate in a way, internal, but I take it very seriously. So to me, it is a duty, but no one is asking me to do this, and no one is giving me money for do it. So it's just something that I say to myself that I have to be able to do at the best of my abilities, and I try to do it. So no, but at the same time, you have like, when you come up with a text that you like, you have like this kind of recognition you give yourself. And so that is the time when internal process or internal, let's say, obligations become like an external thing. So no, for me there is no public or civil duty, but an internal one, and like kind of a professional one, like being in touch with the thing that I work with, and that is language. Yes, that I think is also important. I think the state or governments should like support the arts and literature, and I don't think that enters in contradiction with my previous answer, because even though this process might be internal or private, they add up to culture in general. So I think it is important to have like support from state. And I would think programs like this are a big opportunity and a good way to do that. Also helping financially small publishing houses, that is also very important, because publishing houses, at the end of the day, they decide who gets published and who does not, so that is important. And also maybe think of grants or scholarships to give to writers and also to translators, because that is important to create a culture atmosphere. And in a more general way, to be aware that culture is important, to be always there, to think maybe in a larger period of time, and not only in the short term, and to always be aware or take care of culture. Okay, I would highly recommend La Mayor by Juan José Saer. Saer is he was an Argentinian writer. He lived his last years in France, but he always wrote in Spanish. This text that I'm recommending is called, again, La Mayor. You would translate it as the biggest, but it also has like a musical idea, because La Mayor is like La higher, so it's related to music. And what I love about Saer in general, but specifically in La Mayor, is that I don't know, what he does with language is like he's playing an instrument. It's amazing. He starts cutting sentences every 2 or 3 words with a comma. So you get this kind of rhythm, and it has an effect on the body. It's amazing. And I chose this text because I read it. I read it like, I don't know, 2 times a year maybe. And one time I was reading it, and I realized when I was reading it, I remember the first sentence. I will say to you, otros, ellos, antes querían. And between every word, a comma. And that is also grammatically correct in Spanish. That is amazing. So I was reading this text, and in the middle of it, I realized that I was doing this with the book, like following the rhythm of the sentences with a movement. So I said, oh my God, this has a real effect in the world and in me and in life. So read it. I'm working on a novel. I was hoping to be able to have a first draft finished here. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but anyway, I've been writing quite a lot, so I'm happy about that. Especially in the first month, it was like a very nice month of writing. And now I'm thinking what the Iowa environment like gave to me is I think I am more able to see like the bones of what I'm writing. I was able this last couple of weeks to take a step back and take conscious of the structure of the novel, and also details that maybe had escaped from me before. So that is something that I was able to do, and I think it has to do with the place, and also it has to do also with being in touch with English, because I think the English language has a quality of synthesis and like very translucent kind of feeling to me. I don't know if it's true, but I have that feeling. So I think maybe through that I was able to like get the clouds away, move the clouds away from my own text and see through it. And that was really nice.